La cucaracha, la cucaracha. Ah, da 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 da. I don't know the rest of the words. But you can only anticipate the reason I'm doing that is because I have a Hispanic and Latino infused recipe for you called carnitas. And the carnitas is a beautiful roasted pork shoulder that you can serve in tortillas, in wraps, all sorts of things. But because we're cooking Paleo, I got an idea for you. You're going to be able to make your own carnitas in lettuce. So let's go ahead and make a traditional Hispanic influenced dish, the carnitas, but we're going to make it Paleo style. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm really excited about this episode here for our Paleo recipe, folks, because I'm going to tell you right now, this is one of my favorite recipes. This, my friends, is 1.5 pounds of a pork shoulder. And you can tell it's a pork shoulder because you see on one side there's a lot of good fat there, but then, or meat there rather, and then on the other side you're going to see a lot of fat. And the reason for that is the shoulder, as well as a lot of other areas of the pig, have a lot of fat. Now, one thing that I want to be clear on is the reason why I'm telling you to use shoulder meat is because shoulder meat will render through the fat. And that's very important. Very similar to the way ribs cook. And this is a really great recipe because I'm going to show you how they make this specific dish in South America called carnitas. And carnitas is a slow-cooked pork that they season and they blend and they serve usually with either arroz, which is rice, or they'll sear it with azul, which is either a soup broth with corn, or pasoch, which is a stew with vegetables in it. So we're going to just make the carnitas, and I'm going to leave it to your imagination as to what you'd like to serve with it. Of course, if you're Paleo, you wouldn't be eating rice, so what we will do with this one is we're going to serve this with a great salad and just, you know, put some typical South American salsa salad on top of it and serve it with a little bit of guacamole because we do have some guacamole. And I'll get to that in just a second. Right now, let's get busy with this pork. Now, first thing you need to do is bring out the big mama. This is what I call the big mama. I got a big butcher knife here. The reason why is because you're going to be cutting through meat. You don't want to have smaller knives because they'll slip and you'll cut yourself. So I'm using the big mama. The way I'm going to cut this is I'm just going to go ahead and cube it. So I'm going to put a little slice in the beginning like that, another little slice in the beginning like that, and I'm going to get an idea how I'm going to cube all this up. Now I've got a piece of a bone there, right there. That's a knuckle bone right there. So I'm going to cut that out. You want to make sure that when you go to the store and get this pork meat, that you get something that's got no bone in it. And this doesn't have bone, it doesn't have the shoulder bone in it, but that was a part of it. So get rid of all that stuff before you start cutting your meat, because you will cut yourself. Okay, so I'm going to just cut right through that pre-made cut I just did, right there. It's like a pork chop, doesn't it? Huh? Looks like I just made a pork chop. Nah, I didn't, because it's not tenderloin, but it looks that way, right? Okay. And the next cut right here. Now you want to keep all the skin and all the fat that's on the top here. Don't get rid of it because you need it for this recipe. Okay, so I got 3 pieces now. I'm going to go ahead and start cubing this up. So you want them in roughly about 1-inch cubes, like that. Okay, and then cut again along the sides. And really that's what you want. You want something like that. Now while we're doing this, you should have a pot of water on the boil on the stove, so that by the time we're done with this, we can put all of this into the pot. And again, this looks almost meaningless because of all the fat and cartilage there. Keep it. It's part of the recipe. Don't get freaked out. You're not going to really eat it. Okay? You want some of this meat to just be completely encased in the fat. Again, if you find any cartilage or bones, cut them out before you cook this because you don't want anyone biting down on this. Alright? Okay. We are ready to rock and roll. We have our meat that's cubed. Now, for those of you Palean people who can't use salt, do not use salt. But if salt is an option for you, just season it with salt like so. You only need about a teaspoon of salt. I always use kosher salt because kosher salt goes so much better in the water, and it has a very diluted flavor. Plus its sodium content's a lot lower than iodine salt, or iodized salt. Alright, we're going to get ready and go ahead and put this in the pot. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I now have a boiling, rapid boiling pot of water here, and I'm just going to go ahead and easily slide in that pork into the water. Okay, gang, so now we've got our pork all separated here. It's okay if it touches each other, and if you want to add some extra stuff into this, like cloves of garlic or peppers or any of those things, this is not the stage to do it, because this pork now is going to go ahead and cook in this water for about 3 to 4 hours. So I'm going to put the lid over the pot, make sure it's on its lowest simmer point, and every so often I'm going to come back and check and see if I need to add any more liquid. But for the most part, after the last hour, you shouldn't be adding any liquid to this, because the whole idea of cooking the carnitas is to slow cook it and then allow that fat I was telling you to leave with the pork to be the remaining way of cooking it, almost like if it was frying in a saute pan. So you'll see what I'm saying once we get finished with this step. I'll see you in 3 hours. Alright, we're going to check up on this pork now and see how it's doing. We're about an hour and a half into it, so we're about halfway. And you can see right now the meat is starting to get a little loose. The fat is beginning to melt. And the water's reducing. So we're in good shape. We're going to give it another hour and a half, and it should be right down to the fat, and it should start having fat cooking it. Okay, we got about 20 minutes to go here, and we should see the pork cooking in the fat, and we do. See what I'm talking about? It's just nothing but fat down there, and that's why you wanted all that fat in the pot. So now you're just going to turn the pork around like I am right now, and just getting it braised on the other side. The pork will fall literally apart when you grab it, so be careful. You don't want to bust it up too much yet, because we want to cook the other side. Okay? So turn the rest of them around, let it simmer for about another 5 minutes. At this point, you need to really watch it because you don't want to burn it. And then we're going to go to the next and final phase of the carnitas. And then we're going to go to the next and final phase of carnitas. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and pull out the pork now. You can see it's already just falling apart. We're just going to pull this all out and plate it up. Try and keep the chunks intact. I know it'll be difficult, but try to keep the chunks intact, because that's the whole purpose of how we cooked this pork, this luscious, beautiful meat. You can see almost all the grease is gone now, and that's because it's been used to saute the pork, or rather braise the pork, and put us through that process. Okay, you want to get every last bit out of there. Oh, that's marvelous. Okay, let's get ready to plate it. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. We have just a beautiful plate here of carnitas. And what we're going to do here is going to put a few green leaf lettuce leaves to use as taco shells instead of flour tortillas, because as Paleans all know, we can't eat that. And I'm also going to put a little guacamole on it. So let's just do that, just to finish this beautiful plate off. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? And there it is, folks. A couple nice pieces of leaf lettuce to make your carnitas in, and put your carnitas inside the lettuce leaf with a little bit of guacamole. I'm going to squeeze this lime just around all the wonderful slow-cooked pork, and just serve that on the top as a squeeze. And there you have it. Your authentic carnitas served Italian style. Enjoy.